Peace. What's going on, YouTube? It's KJ back again. So, I want to get into the topic of self love because self love is one of the most important things. And when you're new to the spiritual path, or you might even be on a spiritual path, this is something that you have to constantly revisit this concept and this practice of self love because that's going to be what gets you through the challenges in life, the obstacles in life, and all the spiritual work that you do. The core of your self-love and how much you really want to know is going to be what determines how far you go in your life and in terms of your spiritual work as well. So what is this? Because, a lot of us like to talk about self-love. There's a lot of information about self-love that's out there, but how much of it is really working? And you have to honestly ask yourself, how much of these practices that you've probably been implementing, how much of it is really working? And this is also how you're going to be able to tell who's using you for clickbait, attention, and money online versus who's actually out here trying to help you, because there's a distinct difference in this world of illusion. We have to be cognizant, and a lot of people who are newcomers onto this path, who might just now be becoming conscious, it's easy for you to get duped. And the reason why I say that is because I was duped easily early on in my journey. Obviously, I found out that was for a reason, because that helps you develop the proper discernment, right? But if I'm going to give information to people who are subscribed to this channel, who may not even be subscribed to this channel, then I'm going to make sure that it comes from the right place, and that's from my heart. So how do we really know? You have to really ask yourself, are the things that people are giving out to you, is it giving you clarity? Are they giving you directions, things to try out that they've tried out for themselves? Or are they giving you things that make you come back for more, leaving you with more questions? Because that's an easy way to determine whether you're being used or whether you're really being helped, to determine the respect that these people have from you. And my teachers, they all taught this way. They all taught that you give people exactly what you tried and what you did yourself, because it makes no sense to give somebody else something that you don't know about, or something that you might have read in a book and you don't show them where you got it from. So think about it like this. When we're talking about self-love, we're talking about how you feel about yourself in every aspect of your life. When you show up to where you show up to, whether it be your job, your business, your relationship, your passions, whatever it may be, when you show up, how do you show up? And how do you feel about how do you feel about how you show up as well? Are you able to be authentic around your friends, around your family, around the people that you surround yourself with, or are you not? Is that gap closed? Because if that gap's not closed, there's a deficiency in your self-love. You have to always constantly work at closing that gap. So that's the first point I'm really going to make. Is the person that you are in alignment with the person that you present yourself to be? That's the first big question that you have to ask yourself. And if it's not, then you have to write down on a piece of paper, because this is what I did. Write down on a piece of paper the parts of yourself that you don't feel like you can express around who you surround yourself with and where you go. Write it down. Because when I wrote it down, I was able to gain clarity. And if you're too lazy to write it down, or maybe you're skeptical as to, okay, how is writing it down going to really give me success? Well, we like to say, oh yeah, I know what's going on. I don't really have to do that type of work. I already understand. And when somebody gives you a simple exercise, okay, so if you know, then just write it out. Since you know so much, right? Write it out and really just take a look. Take a look at what it is. And if you do know, how long have you known, and why haven't you changed it? Because if we're really these awesome spiritual beings, these gods, these goddesses, then why are we in predicaments that we don't like to be in? Why are we surrounding ourselves with people that we don't feel that we can truly be ourselves around? Why are we in environments that we don't feel that we can truly thrive in? that we can truly be who we're meant to be in. Why are we in these positions if we love ourselves so much, if we know so much? Because that means that there's a deficiency in that heart. And in your heart, the heart chakra, if you watch my heart chakra video, deals with knowledge, the true knowledge of self. When you enter into the heart chakra, you're dealing with your inner knowing. This is what many have described as your true brain. And for good reason too, because your intellect and your brain likes to reason, likes to analyze, but your heart functions from a place of, I know what I must do. I know how I feel about this. Your heart never steers you wrong. And that's why you get that feeling in your heart when you're around a certain particular situation or certain person that may or may not be good for you. When you're around a person that you truly love, or you're around a person that you might feel like likes you, you feel that fluttering in your heart. When you're around someone, or you have an aversion to someone, you might be around someone that's not good for you, you feel that wrenching in your heart, that tightness in your heart, that tightness in your chest. These signals that your body gives you are a part of your natural technology. You don't have to do a Google search to figure out how you truly feel and what's going on a spiritual level, what's going on an energetic level. We've built this into ourselves over millions of years. Easy ways, the easiest ways, the most advanced ways, we built in intuitive technologies into our bodies that allows us to access knowledge on different planes. The fact that we're in a time where we feel like we need to Google how we feel means that we've entered into a period of deficiency. We've entered into a dark age. We're out of touch with ourselves. And that's okay. Because the point of being here is to really figure out, can we be in a period of darkness and really come out of it shining with bright light? Can we still pull light out of it? So really evaluate whether the person that you are, the person that you claim to be, and you need to you just evaluate what's going on. Take a look at it. Because if who you're around or the environments that you in do not line up with that person, you need to take time to understand why. First, understand why you're around these people and take an honest look at yourself and who you are. If you can't do that, if you can't be honest with yourself, and you have to take the blame equation out of this. This is why when you do heart chakra work, you have to do the lower chakras first. Because if you're still operating from a victim mindset, which is in your lower three chakras, then you can't understand what's going on in your heart. You can't understand who and what you truly are. That knowledge factor, you can't come into knowledge if you're still thinking outside of yourself. You can't come into knowledge of self if you think that it's all outside of you. This is all an inner experience. So it's all interconnected. When I was around people that I didn't feel were best for me, and I did this years ago, not 10 years ago, around 5 years ago, but I did this years ago, taking an honest look at who was really around me. And when I really deduced that I want to be somewhere better, that I knew who I was, I took the steps to really make those changes. And sometimes these changes come, if you don't understand them at first, they come in harsher ways. You know, they show up in conflict. They show up in a mismatch in the energy between you and other people, a mismatch in the energy between you and the environment that you're in. And, you know, an aversion that you have, you knowing that, hey, you waking up, take it as a sign. When you wake up and you go somewhere to a job that you know isn't for you, you know you can't stay there forever, but you're just doing it for the money. But you wake up every day and you feel like, all right, you know, this is it. Fuck this place, blah, blah. Take that as a sign you need to get out of there. Don't stay there that long. You know, you wake up and you're in a relationship that you don't want to be in, or that you know is bad for you, or that you just have not so good feeling is about. That's a sign. That is a sign. And the longer you can continue to stay in situations like that, the more that you disconnect yourself from your heart. Self-love is not just about taking yourself out, having a good meal, seeing a movie by yourself, getting your nails done, you know what I'm saying, taking a nice bath, a bubble bath, exfoliating and shit. That's not what this is about. That's self-care. You should be doing that for yourself. But this is about knowledge. This is about truth. Are you true to who you are and who you say you're going to be? Are you true to those dreams that you have about yourself, that you know you can achieve them, but you're still playing around? Because it's not time to play around. All right. If you're on this channel, we don't play around over here. We get the work done. Because if you watch any of my previous videos, stop thinking that you have time, especially if you're conscious, especially whether you're a newcomer or whether you're just getting into the work or whether you're a veteran. You know what I'm saying? You don't have time. You don't have time. And that's just real talk. You know, every day you wake up, you got to wake up with a mission to know more about yourself, to get further down this path. And the more time that you spend doing the opposite, the further you get away from self. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. That's just how it is. You know, every day is, you know, you have to just take your time. Don't blame people, but evaluate. When you're somewhere you don't want to be, you have to take a look. And one of my teachers recommended this, but she said to take a look and just understand why you're there first. Because once you understand why and you get the lesson, then you can leave without any ill will. Then you can leave without creating more trauma for yourself. Then you can leave without creating more drama for yourself. Because a lot of times we'll be in a situation that's uncomfortable. We'll be in a situation that we got feelings about, and we think it's just about the situation. We won't make the time to connect it on an inner level. If you read that book, The Holographic Universe, it tells you that every little thing about the universe is connected to you. It's all going on simultaneously within you. You know, this is all one continuum. Body, spirit, soul is all one continuum. Space, earth, and you is all one continuum. So, you know, and we can't say it's both or it's two different things. Because people like to say all the time, you know, hey, you know, I'm manifesting. Oh, the universe, I'm pulling from the universe. I'm putting it out to the universe. Oh, my spirit guides are looking out for me. You can't say it's that. And then also try to have it a different way, saying that these things aren't working in your favor because it's all a game of luck, or it's all not a part of you, or someone's got you held down, or something's in your way. I thought you were pulling from the universe. I thought you were manifesting. I thought you were using the law of attraction. What happened to that? What happened to that? See, we like to throw around all these buzzwords and all these buzz phrases because now the realm of spirituality has been tainted and turned to another religion, right? But we don't like to hear when somebody's telling you to really look at yourself and see why you're fucked up, why you're in a situation that you're in. Because when I took that honest look at myself, and I do this on the daily, I'm responsible for where I'm at. And a lot of things have happened to me. You know, I've lost friends and I've lost family because I've worked so hard on following my true self. And those things happen at a synchronicity because I didn't understand that those things had to be removed out of my life for me to go to another level. When everything is going wrong, it's because it's time for you to go to another level. Your spirit is cleaning this out of your life. It's cleaning the filth out of your life. Step 2 into self-love is you need to evaluate exactly, now that you've looked at your environment, now that you've looked at yourself and your actions and your interactions, you also have to look at, where do you want to be? Look at where you're at and look at where you want to be. And if those two don't align, now you need to write out how you're going to make that happen. Who's gonna get the boot from your life? What's gonna get the boot from your life? That's the key, right? The key to tapping into self-love is understanding and knowing and following those knowings. The problem is that we don't listen to ourselves. And when we don't listen to ourselves, we find it hard to listen to other people too, especially if they're trying to help. I used to work in a job where it dealt with helping people, and people would get so mad until I say, hey, I'm just trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to help you. And they're so mad at the situation, why it's taking so long, and why things are going certain ways and what's going on. They don't realize the person in front of them is trying to help them. You know, why are you fighting yourself? Like I said, what we have inside is always telling us the answers. So what are the answers that it's giving you? Take those answers and start following them. Start applying those answers. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to get divorced. I'm not telling you to do something that might be detrimental to your life. But what I am telling you is to be honest with yourself. To be honest with yourself and start planning accordingly. Because when you do the spiritual work, when you take these things, you write them down and you evaluate and you look and you let go of the emotions that you had tied to these problems and tied to these things, then your life opens up spiritually. On a spiritual end, it opens you up to new possibilities. So what's going on physically, even if you don't have the courage to break free from that, to go do something else, your spirit's going to do it for you anyway. And you might be very uncertain for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but you'll get blessed on the end of it. I can tell you that for sure. Most definitely. Most definitely. Definitely. Because I've had a number of these things happen to me. I had no idea where I was going to live for quite a few months. Quite a few months after I had a huge falling out with my own mother. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I was getting divorced as well. So I had no family to turn to. And I had just, stuff happen with my apartment as well. No idea what was going to happen. I wasn't homeless, but I made something work. And in that time, I didn't know what to do. But what I did was I kept meditating. I didn't say, oh, you know what? Look, this isn't working for me. No, I kept at it. I kept meditating. I kept doing the spiritual work. And instead of saying, okay, my whole life is falling apart. My relationship fell apart. My family fell apart. I can't trust this person. I can't trust that person. Sure, maybe some things are much harder to do when things fall apart. But that doesn't mean I lose my foundation. I lose my ground. No, I kept doing those things because I wanted to know the answer of what is here for me. What is the message for me? I've changed the way that my entire mind works through spiritual work, through chakra work, through letting go. Why do you think I always mention that book? I'll always mention that book because one of my teachers gave it to me. And the ritual that I did and that I've been doing was to read it once a season and filter out what needs to be filtered out in my life. Let go of what needs to be let go of in my life. Letting Go, book by David R. Hawkins. Very powerful spiritual book. I've given this book out to people that I know personally, even people that I've had issues with personally. The people who read it got something out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I know if I can get something out of it, y'all can get something out of it. Most definitely. So are we willing to do this work? Because what real self-love is, to put it in a nutshell, is, are you willing to let go of everything that you've been letting hold you hostage? That's what it is. That's how to tap into it. Because once you let go of it, you'll realize this love was all around you. You don't have to do anything external. Because we keep thinking, our minds are programmed to think externally. But isn't everything external a manifestation of what's internal? Isn't that the case? Because I thought that was the case. I found that to be the case in my life. So if you too find it to be the case, then why don't we work from the inside out? We say it all the time. Oh, we can take control of this matrix. We can overthrow these cabals, and whatever the case may be, we can overthrow everything from the inside out. But that's all a reflection. All this discord, all this chaos, all this stuff, all this illusion is nothing more than a reflection of what's inside of you. You're living an illusion. Your identity is probably an illusion. Especially if you're not conscious. So we need to work at that. We need to take an honest look at that. Why is that the case? You work from the inside out, not from the outside in. We got it backwards because of our mind control. Real talk. We got it backwards because of our mind control. Because someone told you, hey, you got to take these pills and you got to go to a therapist. Sure, you might have to be honest, because shit is pretty fucked up out here. But how long are you going to do that for? What if you just took an honest look at how you felt about your environment and you allowed yourself to experience those emotions? What if you stop hiding from it? What if you stop running from it? What if you stop numbing it out with music? What if you stop glossing over the fact that you don't feel so well about yourself? What if you stop lying to yourself? Stop gassing yourself. Stop listening to people that's gassing you up. You want the honest truth? You don't love yourself. Because if you did love yourself, then you wouldn't be wondering how to tap into it. You wouldn't be asking online how to self-love. That's the real deal. And I'm not talking down on anybody, because this is the video I'm making for myself in the past. You know what I mean? And like I said, we have to constantly revisit this. So I'm not, above anyone on this, but what I am going to say is what I know from my own experience, and that's real talk. And what I do know from my own experience is that unless you take an honest look at yourself, unless you actually allow yourself to feel these things, you're going to stay the same. Absolutely. I don't care how much you meditate, how much you dress up, how much you go and you tell everybody how much of a good vegan you are, and how your ancestors are smiling at you because you eat vegetables and you don't eat meat. And I'm vegetarian saying that, by the way. But I know not to mix that with my spirituality. That has nothing to do with self-love. That ain't got shit to do with spirituality. True spirituality is about honesty. And I'll say that 1,000,000 times until niggas get it. It's about honesty. And unless you can really be honest with yourself, and really self-evaluate and allow this stuff to move through, you're never gonna get past it. The shadow self will always have its hand around your neck, trying to teach you a lesson. And the further you run, the more it's gonna hurt. It's like when you did something wrong as a kid and you knew that whooping was coming, and you just didn't want, you're constantly running from it. You know it's gonna be a lesson, a hard lesson to learn, but you're just running from the pain. And you get rewarded from running. See, what I'll tell you that therapists won't tell you. Therapists just want you to keep talking about the problem so they can get your money. Right? What I'll tell you is you need to bring it to the forefront and just experience it. That's all this is. It's an experience. That's all this is in the heart. It's just an experience. We're weighed down by all the 7 lower emotions. And most of these spiritual people is caught up in the pride, which is the highest lower emotion, but it's still limited because you can only go so far with pride. Just the other day, a dude was telling me, and this is how I know, I mean, it goes without saying, but most of you people are addicted to weed. But he says that he smokes so that he can deal with the anger, because he's always angry, doesn't even know why. Because if he didn't smoke, he would blow up on someone. He has to always be high. Why do we have to always numb it out? And from where he's from, I can understand why he would be angry, because I would be angry at the world too if I had been raised in an environment where I saw and experienced the same things that he saw and experienced. And to be frank, I was angry at a lot of things in my life for a while. And I wore it on my face. These are things that separates you, whether you love yourself or not. Like I said, it's not about what you do for yourself. You can do a million different things for yourself. Go ahead and take yourself out, whatever the case may be. If it makes you feel better, good. Make it a ritual. But while you do these things in your mind, this is the exercise. This is your homework in your mind. While you do these things, make it a point to look inside yourself emotionally. Because when you don't have those lower emotions, shame, guilt, blame, apathy, depression, pride, anger, lust, and greed holding you down, you can move further spiritually. Most definitely. Most definitely. But what's going to hold you back? What's going to keep your heart heavy is your inability to let these things flow. Because we do it all the time. And I made a video about this a few years ago. But we do it all the time with this suppression shit. We like to numb it out. Get off the damn TV. Get off of TikTok. Stop watching videos. Stop playing games all day. If you just took out all this noise, see, the thing is, they're crafting a technological escape for you, a technological matrix for you. Actually, it's already crafted. It's not even perfected, but it's already crafting. You're already in it, because here's the thing. We run to these things because we feel uncomfortable. Tell me I'm wrong. You feel uncomfortable when you're sitting next to strangers and everybody just pulls out their phone and it's silent in the room. When you're alone, don't know what to do, you pull out your phone. Because if you were to stand there normally, you would think it's awkward. Maybe, and that will project onto somebody else. Then they think you're awkward, and now it's an awkward situation, right? That's our go-to when things are uncomfortable. Some people can't even take a shit without having their phone. Because something's always got to be going on. You get what I'm saying here? You get what I'm saying here? Because I'm going to go into a different video in depth about this technology shit. Definitely. Because it needs to be said. Absolutely, someone needs to talk about it even more. Because I know Phil Valentine's been talking about it. Right? Shout out to him because he's the OG. Phil Valentine's been going hard on that. And for good reason too. So, and this world is changing. It's changing because those who are tapped in to that technology matrix, tapped into their technology chakras, this physical shit, versus those who are of their spiritual higher technologies, there's a huge split occurring because of that. A huge split between those who are doing the spiritual work, those who are meant to be here, changing this planet on a higher frequency, versus those who are a part of this technology shit, this real Matrix shit, like the movie Matrix shit. And part of my book goes into that too. It's a fiction book, but it shows that in a different way too. So, can you be honest? Is the real question. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to look into your past. Every time somebody tells me that they got problems, I'm like, okay, did you look into your past? They're like, oh no, everything was good. My whole relationship with my family was good. I don't have any problems. I really think it's just what's going on in the world around me, these people around me. I've heard it so many times that I'm not going to argue with them because, to be honest, I'm not at that level where I'm going to debate you about it. There is no debate. I can see it in you off observation, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And the best thing that I can do for you if you can't see it is just hope that you see it one day. That you're willing to look at it one day. Because that I know that's how people who wanted to help me in the past looked at me when I didn't know how to explain it. It's not outside of us. And a lot of it does have to do with the past. We say that we're over it. We're over what happened, but are we really? Is it just hiding? If everything was so okay, then why isn't everything okay? I want to know that too. Why isn't everything okay? Are you forcing yourself to feel good, or do you genuinely feel good? Those are two different things. If you're not happy, then be honest about it and do something about it. Because the last thing that anyone needs is someone who thinks they're spiritual, throwing their problems everywhere, trying to teach somebody. Trying to be an example to somebody. You know what I mean? And if you're new to this, you're in the right place. Because now you know exactly where to start. Before you can do anything spiritual, you need to sort out this emotional shit. Brother Panic always talked about that. I promise you, it has to start with the emotional body. It has to. And the reason why I say that is because I'm constantly refining my emotional body, constantly doing heavy work on it, day in and day out, even among my daily life. And it's just always something that's gonna need your attention while you're a human being. So we need to clean up what happened in the past, right? Because especially if you're in your 20s, because that's in the age where you start to really question what's going on with your life and with the world around you. And now, since kids are being born very in tune, they're questioning it as children now. What's really popping? So, and if you're an adult, you have to look backwards. Start from the back, start from the inside out, work your way from the inside out. Be honest with yourself. See, when I did hypnotherapy, the first thing one of my teachers did was ask me, she said, tell me everything that happened in your life. You know how hard that was to process? And how much stuff came to light because I did that? You know what I'm saying? In hypnotherapy. Can you comb through everything that happened in your life in a meditation? Because you'll start to find stuff that didn't sit well with you. You'll start to remember things that you still feel angry about. And we see, the thing is, we hid from it so much. When you were younger, remember when you went to sleep and all the things that you felt terrible about would come and keep you up at night? It's because it was your spirit trying to help you deal with it. Oh, I remember that heavily now. That just got dropped on me in the moment because we're deep into this spiritual shit right now. That got dropped on me in this moment. When you lie down, and this is exactly why when people meditate, they get scared because they feel uncomfortable. It's hard for them to relax because all that anxiety that they're numbing throughout the day with food, with television, with their phone, with drugs, that anxiety, that fear, that anger, that depression, when you finally sober up from whatever you're doing, when you finally chill out from whatever you're doing on your phone, on TV, always keeping yourself talking to somebody, keeping yourself busy, steady busy, bro. But when you finally stop all that, now you really now these things come to light. That's what happens when you sit still. That's the fourth and final point. Can you come to a point in stillness? Come to a point in stillness and really see what's going on in your life. You know, because when you're still, then you can make the changes. And after that, you can get into positive motion, not negative motion, not retrograde motion. So, like I said, that book, Letting Go, get that if you don't have it already. And actually, I'm going to put a few more books because some of this stuff I feel like came from other books as well. So I'm gonna go through my library and put a few more books in the description. But this is really what I wanted to touch on. Because if we don't do this, you're not doing anything spiritual. The only thing that you're going to manifest is something that's related to your emotional state. You can only attract up to the frequency that you're on. I promise you that. And we're on different frequencies and different levels in our lives, in different areas of our lives. So you might be high on the frequency of money and very low on the frequency of self-love. Close that gap. You might be high on the frequency of learning, reading books, gaining spiritual knowledge, maybe meditation, and you might be very low on the frequency of self-love, relationships, very low on the frequency of being able to be honest with yourself. Very low. You know, and that book actually talks about that because every emotion that we have towards, every attitude that we have towards different situations of our lives registers on a number scale, on a vibrational scale. The goal in your spiritual work is just to be as high vibrational as possible and do your mission. That is the end goal. That is the ultimate goal in all this stuff. And to get there requires self-love. Hands down. And those exercises that I talked about. So honesty, number one, be honest with yourself. Number two, figure out where you're at and where you want to go and how you're going to get there. You need a game plan in this. If you don't have a game plan in this, it's just not going to work. Listen to yourself. Number 3, evaluate those answers that are being given to you. You have to evaluate those answers. And number 4, stillness. Can you come to a point in stillness? Meditation. Sit still, chill out, and get rid of all the distractions. Because the distractions and the suppression and the repression is not helping. Because if it was helping, you wouldn't be needing more. Let's just keep it a buck. You wouldn't be needing to constantly keep smoking, constantly keep doing this, constantly keep doing that. You'd be able to just sit there and chill. But the problem is we can't chill because we got so much going on inside. It's like a background program running on your computer. You don't know why your computer's so slow, why your computer's spazzing out. It's because you got something running in the background. You got a virus. That virus is that suppression, that suppressed emotion. You got a printer jam, bro. Clean it out. It's got to come out at some point. Use that antivirus. It's got to come out at some point. That's just the way that it is. You pour too much noodles down the drain, bro. You got to get it out. Too much hair stuck in the drain, bro. You got to get it out. I'm just going to keep it real. Just going to keep it real. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and please do the work. That's how you can get into the self-love. And I'm going to link my heart chakra video as well, because that goes into detail about this heart space that we're working at. But we got to get there first with the spiritual work. We got to get there with the honesty. Because you can't transform yourself. You can't do all these things on a higher level if you're still dealing with lower emotions. That's real self-love. How much are you willing to do for yourself? And what are you doing with yourself? And is it coming from a higher energy? Is it coming from a higher vibration? Because if not, if that gap is not closed, then you need to do some evaluating. This is constant. It's more than just spa dates. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. Peace.